Coca-Cola. In 1885, Atlanta passed prohibition legislation banning the production and sale of alcohol. A pharmacist and former Confederate colonel named John Pemberton had been selling a tonic called French wine coca, a mixture of alcohol and coca leaf extract he had developed partly to manage his own morphine addiction, contracted after being wounded in the Civil War. With alcohol now illegal in Atlanta, he reformulated. He removed the wine, added cola nut extract for caffeine, lime juice, citric acid, vanilla, and a blend of essential oils including cinnamon and nutmeg, and sweetened it heavily to mask the bitterness of the coca leaf. On May 8, 1886, the drink was served for the first time as a fountain drink at Jacob's Pharmacy in Atlanta, at 5 cents a glass. His partner Frank Robinson named it Coca-Cola, joining the two main active ingredients, coca leaf, which contained cocaine, and cola nut, which contained caffeine. Pemberton had a hunch the drink would become a national product, but he never saw it. He was ill and nearly broke within 2 years of the launch, selling off portions of the formula to various partners to fund his ongoing morphine habit. He died of stomach cancer in August 1888, in poverty. Shortly before his death, a fellow Atlanta pharmacist named Asa Griggs Candler acquired the rights to the full formula for $300. That sum, adjusted for inflation, is around $10,000 today. By 1919, the company was worth $25 million. Candler built the Coca-Cola Company around one core decision: make the formula a secret and make the secrecy itself a marketing tool. Only 2 executives are said to know the complete recipe at any given time. They are not permitted to travel on the same plane. The cocaine was removed from the formula in 1903. The company continued to use spent coca leaves, the byproduct of cocaine extraction, as a flavoring ingredient, which it still does today through a single licensed supplier in New Jersey. In 1985, under competitive pressure from Pepsi, the company reformulated the drink as New Coke, discarding the original formula after 99 years. Public reaction was swift and hostile. Shelves were cleared of the new product. Hundreds of thousands of complaint calls flooded the company. After 79 days, the original formula returned as Coca-Cola Classic. Sales of the original immediately outpaced anything New Coke had managed. Some marketing analysts have argued ever since that the entire episode was a deliberate publicity strategy. The Coca-Cola Company has always denied it. Today, Coca-Cola generates roughly $46 billion in annual revenue and is available in every country on Earth except North Korea and Cuba, making it one of the most globally distributed consumer products in history. The flavor is primarily vanilla and cinnamon, with trace citrus and spice oils, the coca leaf and cola nut contributing relatively little to taste but everything to the mythology of the brand. If you've made it this far, like and subscribe, because there are 10 more brands coming. Sprite. Sprite was created by Coca-Cola in West Germany in 1959 as a direct response to the rising popularity of 7UP, and launched in the US in 1961. The formula uses carbonated water, high fructose corn syrup, citric acid, natural lemon-lime flavors, and sodium citrate. No caffeine, no artificial colors. Clear. Sprite's tagline for most of the 1990s and 2000s, "Image is nothing, obey your thirst," was a deliberate counter-positioning to the celebrity-heavy aspirational marketing of Coke and Pepsi, designed to read as anti-hype and a category built on it. Sprite's association with hip-hop from the late 1980s onward, with campaigns featuring LL Cool J, A Tribe Called Quest, Nas, and Missy Elliott, made it the dominant soft drink in that cultural space, and helped it overtake 7UP as the best-selling lemon-lime soda in the United States, a position it has held ever since. In 2022, Coca-Cola changed the can from its historic green to clear, a significant enough shift to generate consumer media coverage internationally. Fanta. Fanta was born out of World War II. When the United States entered the war after Pearl Harbor in December 1941, trade with Germany was cut off, and Max Keith, the head of Coca-Cola's German operations, found himself unable to import the syrup base needed to make Coca-Cola. Unwilling to shut down the factory and lose the workforce and infrastructure, Keith tasked his chemists with developing a new drink from whatever local ingredients were available. The materials on hand were predominantly fruit scraps, apple fiber left over from cider production, and whey from cheese processing. The result was a pale, vaguely fruity soda that the team named Fanta, from the German word for imagination, fantasy. It was never intended to be a global brand. It was a wartime improvisation. After the war, Coca-Cola reacquired its German operations and the Fanta formula. The company reformulated it as an orange soft drink in Italy in 1955 and introduced it internationally through the 1960s. Today, Fanta is available in more than 100 flavors across different markets. The orange variant, Fanta Orange, remains the global bestseller and is one of the most widely distributed soft drinks in Europe, Asia, and Africa. The brand has very different flavor profiles by country. Watermelon Fanta in Japan, baobab in some African markets, grape and strawberry in the US. Fanta generates approximately $5 billion in annual retail sales globally and is Coca-Cola's largest brand outside of its cola portfolio. Schweppes. Johann Jacob Schweppe was a German-born watchmaker living in Geneva in the 1780s who developed a compression pump that could force carbon dioxide into water at scale, producing a stable sparkling water that could be bottled and transported. In 1792, he moved to London and established Schweppes & Company, one of the oldest soft drink companies in continuous operation. He sold carbonated water to physicians who prescribed it as a digestive remedy and to the public as a luxury refreshment. Schweppes tonic water, introduced in the 1870s, became the defining product. The quinine it contained had been used since the early 19th century to prevent malaria in British colonial territories. British troops mixed it with sugar and water to make it drinkable, then added gin. The gin and tonic was not invented as a cocktail. It was a malaria prophylaxis. Schweppes standardized and commodified what had previously been a rough medicinal preparation. The brand was eventually acquired by Keurig Dr. Pepper and is now present in over 90 countries, where it remains the global market leader in tonic water. If you're interested in more content like this, like and subscribe for future updates. Gatorade. In the summer of 1965, a University of Florida assistant football coach asked Dr. Robert Cade, a kidney disease specialist at the university's medical school, a simple question: why don't football players ever urinate during a game? Cade started investigating. His team found that players were losing up to 18 pounds during a single 3-hour game, 95% of it water. Their electrolytes, sodium, and potassium were depleted, and their blood volume was falling. Water alone was not enough, because without dissolved minerals, the body could not properly absorb or retain fluid. Cade's team mixed water, salt, sodium citrate, monopotassium phosphate, and fructose. The first batch tasted, in the words of one colleague, like toilet bowl cleaner. A lineman spat it out. Cade's wife suggested adding lemon juice. After that, it was drinkable. The freshman who drank it before a practice scrimmage beat the varsity squad, which had never happened. Head coach Ray Graves ordered a full batch for the varsity team. In October 1965, the Gators beat the heavily favored LSU Tigers in 102-degree heat, with LSU fading in the second half while Florida did not. The Georgia Tech coach, after losing to the Gators in the 1967 Orange Bowl, told Ray Graves directly, "We didn't have Gatorade." That made the difference. The comment became a line in every Gatorade advertisement for years. What followed was a dispute over intellectual property that shaped American patent law. The University of Florida claimed ownership of the invention because it had been developed on campus using university resources. The federal government argued it had a claim because Cade had been receiving federal research grants. After years of legal proceedings, the university settled for 20% of royalties. To date, that 20% has generated more than $250 million for the University of Florida. Cade had offered to sell the full rights to the university in 1965 for $10,000. The university declined. If you're enjoying this, hit like and subscribe so you don't miss the rest. Prime. On January 4th, 2022, YouTubers Logan Paul and Kasai announced via a live Instagram feed that they had founded a drinks company. The product, Prime Hydration, launched in limited quantities 6 months later. Within weeks, bottles priced at £2 in UK supermarkets were being resold on eBay for up to £15 each. Asda reported chaotic scenes at stores during restocks. A London teacher described students who had finished their Prime and refilled the bottles with water, carrying the empty containers to school because possession of the bottle itself conferred social status among their peers. By the end of 2022, Prime had generated $250 million in retail sales, its first year in existence. In 2023, Prime reached $1.2 billion in global sales and signed sponsorship deals with Arsenal, FC Barcelona, Bayern Munich, the UFC, and the WWE. It briefly became the most sold hydration drink at Walmart, surpassing Gatorade. The drink itself is coconut water based with electrolytes and no added sugar, a formula designed for the health-conscious parent buying it for a child rather than for any particular athletic function. The actual operational company behind it, Congo Brands of Louisville, Kentucky, holds 60% of the company. Paul and C each hold 20%. Congo Brands builds influencer-led consumer products, handles manufacturing and distribution, and keeps an intentionally low public profile. By 2024, the decline was visible and measurable. UK sales fell 48% year over year, making Prime the fastest falling food or drink brand in that market according to Nielsen IQ data. Bottles appeared in clearance bins at 31 pence. A class action lawsuit alleged excessive caffeine content and the presence of FOS, so-called forever chemicals, in the packaging. Arsenal terminated its deal with Prime and switched to Coca-Cola. By late 2024, the energy drink variant had been discontinued in several markets. The trajectory of Prime is, depending on how you read it, either the most successful beverage launch in history or the clearest demonstration of what happens when a product's core value proposition is its founder's fame rather than what is in the bottle. If you'd like to see more content like this, consider liking and subscribing. Arizona. Arizona Iced Tea launched in 1992 in New York, founded by Don Voltaggio and John Farolito, two former beer distributors from Brooklyn. The name had no connection to the state of Arizona. They chose it because it sounded warm, open, and distinctly American at a time when the ready-to-drink iced tea market barely existed. The can design came from Voltaggio's wife, pink, peach, and teal pastels with a southwestern motif that has not meaningfully changed in over 30 years. The 23-ounce can, introduced as the flagship format, was priced at 99 cents. That price point has also not changed. Arizona has held it through 3 decades of inflation, supply chain disruptions, and repeated pressure from distributors and retailers. Voltaggio has stated publicly that maintaining the 99-cent price is a commitment to working-class customers and non-negotiable as long as he controls the company. The company remains privately held and family-run, with Voltaggio's sons in executive roles. It has no publicly reported revenue figure, though industry estimates put it at around $3 to $4 billion annually. Arizona is the best-selling ready-to-drink iced tea in the United States. Its best-known product remains the Arnold Palmer, half iced tea, half lemonade, which it sells under a licensing agreement with the late golfer's estate. Arizona has expanded into energy drinks, juice cocktails, and flavored waters while keeping the original iced tea lines as the dominant sellers. The company's refusal to raise the 99-cent price has itself become the most effective marketing the brand has ever run. 7-Up. 7-Up was invented in 1929 by Charles Leiper-Grigg, a St. Louis beverage entrepreneur who had previously created the orange soda Howdy. He launched 7UP 2 weeks before the Wall Street crash of October 1929 under the original name, bib label lithiated lemon lime soda. The lithiated part was not decorative. The original formula contained lithium citrate, a mood-stabilizing compound that is today used as a prescription medication for bipolar disorder. Grigg marketed the drink explicitly as a calming, mood-elevating beverage. Lithium citrate was removed from the formula in 1950, 3 years before the U.S. government classified it as a controlled substance. The name was shortened to 7UP sometime in the 1930s. The origin of the name itself has never been definitively explained, with at least 7 competing theories circulating in beverage history writing. 7UP is now owned by PepsiCo outside the United States and by Keurig Dr. Pepper within it, meaning the brand operates under different ownership in different markets. It dominated the lemon-lime category until Sprite, backed by Coca-Cola's distribution, steadily took market share through the 1980s and 1990s. In the 1970s, the brand tried to reposition itself as the Uncola, a direct challenge to both Coke and Pepsi that worked culturally, even if it didn't fully close the gap commercially. Capri Sun. Capri Sun was invented in Germany in 1969 by Rudolf Wild, a food chemist who had founded a flavoring and concentrate company in Heidelberg after World War II. Wild developed a concentrated fruit drink packaged in a flexible aluminum pouch with a straw, a format that had never been used for beverages at that scale before. The name was inspired by the Italian island of Capri, which Wild associated with sun, warmth, and leisure. The pouch was designed to be light, portable, and require no refrigeration before opening. It became standard in German school lunchboxes through the 1970s and was introduced to the United States in 1981, where it was targeted directly at children. Kraft Foods acquired the brand in 1991. The US version uses water, high fructose corn syrup, and natural flavors. The German original uses fruit juice concentrate with no artificial sweeteners. Capri Sun sells over 2 billion pouches annually. The foil pouch cannot be recycled in most standard streams, drawing sustained criticism from environmental groups. When the company shifted to a clear plastic pouch in the US, consumers could for the first time see what was inside before opening. Some immediately noticed signs of mold and fermentation. The company attributed this to punctured or improperly stored pouches. To stay informed with more content like this, like and subscribe. Mountain Dew. Mountain Dew was created in 1940 by Barney and Ally Hartman, two beverage bottlers in Tennessee, who wanted a mixer to go with whiskey. The name came directly from moonshine slang. Mountain Dew was a traditional Appalachian term for illegally distilled whiskey. The original drink was a simple lemon-lime soda, lighter and more citrusy than 7UP or Sprite, developed as a regional product for the Tennessee market. It attracted attention from PepsiCo in the early 1960s, which acquired the brand in 1964 and began national distribution. The formula was reformulated to be significantly sweeter and more intensely citrus flavored than the original, giving it a taste profile unlike anything else in the mainstream soda market. Mountain Dew contains 54 milligrams of caffeine per 12-ounce can, compared to 34 in Coca-Cola and 0 in most lemon-lime sodas. The brand built its identity around gamers, action sports, and the energy drink-adjacent consumer. Baja Blast, launched exclusively at Taco Bell in 2004, developed a cult following that pressured the brand into retail distribution a decade later. Code Red, from 2001, remains one of the top-selling variants in a lineup that now exceeds 30 active flavors. Mountain Dew generates over $5 billion in annual retail sales. If you've watched this far, you already know this channel goes deeper than most. Subscribe now so you don't miss the next one. We're covering fast food chains, energy drinks, and supermarket empires next. Pepsi. 5 years before Coca-Cola was being distributed nationally, a pharmacist named Caleb Broadham was running a drugstore in New Bern, North Carolina, with a soda fountain. In 1893, he developed his own carbonated syrup from sugar, water, caramel, cola nuts, vanilla, and rare oils, and called it Brad's Drink. In 1898, he renamed it Pepsi Cola, combining dyspepsia, a medical term for indigestion, with cola to market it as a digestive aid. The company went bankrupt in 1923 after Broadham gambled on rising post-war sugar prices and lost. Its assets sold for $30,000. Coca-Cola was offered the company twice during this period and declined both times. The brand was eventually rebuilt by a candy manufacturer named Charles Guth, whose key tactical move was selling 12-ounce bottles for 5 cents during the Great Depression, the same price Coke charged for 6 ounces. Pepsi sales doubled. In 1947, while Coca-Cola actively supported segregationist politics in Georgia and refused to target black consumers, Pepsi built an all-black sales team led by Edward Boyd and sent them into Jim Crow territory to pitch the brand directly to African-American communities. The team faced threats from the Ku Klux Klan and discrimination from within Pepsi's own offices. It worked. In cities where Boyd's team visited, Pepsi's market share among black consumers overtook Coke 3-1. In 1975, Pepsi ran blind taste tests in shopping malls. Participants consistently chose Pepsi without knowing what they were drinking. Pepsi broadcast the results nationally. The Pepsi challenge rattled Coke enough to eventually produce New Coke and the consumer backlash that followed. In January 1984, during the filming of a Pepsi commercial featuring Michael Jackson at the Shrine Auditorium, pyrotechnics set Jackson's hair on fire. He suffered second-degree burns. Pepsi settled out of court for $1.5 million. Jackson donated the entire settlement to a hospital burn center. Dr. Pepper is older than Coca-Cola. It was created in 1885, 1 year before Pemberton mixed his first batch, by a pharmacist named Charles Alderton at Morrison's Old Corner Drugstore in Waco, Texas. Alderton loved the smell of the soda fountain, where dozens of fruit syrups sat together and created a layered, complex aroma. He spent months trying to recreate that smell in a single drink. The result was a blend of 23 flavors. The exact components remain a trade secret, with the formula reportedly kept in 2 halves in separate locked vaults in Dallas, balanced around no single dominant note, with spice, fruit, and sweetness layered so that none overwhelmed the others. Alderton gave the formula away to the shop owner, who named it and began serving it. Customers called it a Waco. It was the most ordered item at the fountain within weeks. The name's origin has never been confirmed. The most repeated version involves a young man who worked in a Virginia drugstore owned by a physician named Dr. Charles Pepper, fell in love with the doctor's daughter, was rejected and fired, moved to Waco, and named his invention after the man who had blocked his romance. The Dr. Pepper Museum has documented over a dozen competing versions. The company dropped the period after Dark in the 1950s, when a new typeface made it look like DI, a legibility fix that also distanced the brand from medical associations. Since the 1930s, a persistent rumor has circulated that Dr. Pepper contains prune juice. The company has denied it for nearly a century. The official FAQ states, Dr. Pepper is a unique blend of natural and artificial flavors. It does not contain prune juice. Historians believe the rumor was started deliberately by a competitor's salesman as a way to imply the drink had laxative properties. The denial has now been repeated so frequently that devoted fans treat the denial itself as suspicious. Dr. Pepper is currently the second best-selling carbonated soft drink in the United States, behind only Coca-Cola, having overtaken Pepsi in 2024. Lipton. Thomas Lipton was born in Glasgow in 1848, left school at 10, and emigrated to the United States at 15. He returned to Glasgow in 1869 and opened a grocery shop, building it into a chain of hundreds of stores through aggressive pricing and self-promotional stunts that were decades ahead of their time. He entered the tea business in 1890 by buying estates directly in Ceylon, cutting out the trading middlemen and advertising the product as direct from the tea garden to the teapot. Lipton was knighted 4 times and became internationally famous for competing 5 times for the America's Cup without ever winning, a record that made him beloved as a gracious, persistent sportsman. He died in 1931, leaving most of his estate to charities for the poor of Glasgow. The Lipton brand is now jointly owned by Unilever and PepsiCo. The bottled iced tea line is one of the most widely distributed non-carbonated beverages in the world, with annual global sales exceeding $3 billion across more than 110 countries. It is the world's best-selling tea brand by volume.